Anyway, I went to Gethsemane Abbey because there was this conference. There you go, you have it. uh, Between the Trappists and the Tibetan monks, uh, led by the Dalai Lama, who was doing a return journey to Merton's grave as Merton made the journey to see the Dalai Lama when he went to Bangkok, when he was where he died, that.
Mm-hmm.
So they were having this conference, and I had to get there. I didn't know how to lie, shields. Trying to find a Benedictine habit or anything. I said, trying to get into the and so I called a friend of mine, a Trappist there, Patrick Hart, who
Okay.
had been Merton's secretary. And I said, how can I possibly get into that conference? And he said, well, what I'd suggest is through the press, go to St. Anthony Messenger at that time, the press, and say, could I write an article or something, and I have a press thing too, and that's how I got in. I wrote an article for the St. Anthony Messenger and a chapter in my one of my books, The Landscape of Prayer. So I'm there, and we were like in almost a balcony, but it was kind of raised, and then the monks were down in the arena down here, it seemed, and we were just listening and observing. And one day I looked up about 10:30 in the morning, 10. There was a coffee break, bathroom break, or whatever. They took a break, and I was fiddling with something, and I looked up, and everybody was gone except the Dalai Lama, who was sitting down there with the ended up being his bodyguard on the other side. But and I said, God wants me to go down. I have to go down there. They'll start coming back as soon as I head down there. I know it, but it didn't happen. So I got down there. I didn't even know what I was going to say, but I said, I have to get down there. So I went down and came up to him, and I said, Your Holiness, would you pray with me? That was a total gift. I didn't know I was going to say that or what I was going to do. So, and he said, Of course. So he sat down, he took my hand. He was sitting down. I sat down next to him, and he took my hand, looked into my eyes, total silence for about 3 minutes. I had never felt compassion and love at that level coming from another human being through his eyes. Of course, he is in their faith, the reincarnation of the Buddha of compassion.
Yep.
So, I mean, I was just done in. I did manage to get back to my seat. There's more to the story. But what I just recently, I was thinking about that experience. And I had never asked myself, I wonder what he felt coming from me. Did he see Christ? Did he feel my awe in being in his presence? Did he feel my love, my compassion? I didn't think of this, but until recently I said, because it's always a two-way street, in one way or another. And I thought, wow, that's how we are present to others.
Yes.
Just by looking with love at somebody, and if we are making our souls, building our souls, and we're trying to be Christ-like, most probably that's what they'll feel. They
Yeah.
won't feel evil. They won't feel hatred or violence, or they will feel this soul that we've become, and I'm using that in quotes, so
Yeah.
and it was so strange because I never well, now this is the way God works, because I remember now when he left, all the monks were lined up, like a belt line or something that you had to run through. And his car was at the end down there. And his car came in, and uh, and he rolled the window down, and he looked at everything, and then he looked at me. He looked right at me, and I knew that once again I had to go there. So I walked through all those monks. Said I know they thought I was crazy, but I walked through and went right to the car, and and he wanted to shake my hand. He looked at me again, and then he left. But so maybe he saw something too, that of himself in me, as I saw something of myself in him. And that's how uh, that's how we make God present to one another.
Mm.
So that all the prayer we're doing, all the work, all the grace, all the masses, all the sacraments, all this are so that we can be Christ. We don't have to say, oh, have to turn Christ on now.
Yeah.
But, when we're present to someone, and that is the error, R of the word sport,
Mm.
your openness your response will be to build a soul that's worthy of the other, whoever that other is.